We're going to move mountain and earth, heaven and earth. Faith can move a mountain, but doubt can build them. Kind of shit. That's right. Oh, yes. That's right, guys. Talking about that 2019 rally. We're going to talk about some of the details tonight, but I want to let the view count go up a little bit so everybody's not like, hey, what are you guys talking about? I was 45 minutes late for the show because I needed to watch the latest episode of Pokemon. No. What? We'll get to that. I'm not dealing with that because I had it the other night, man. It was always, what are you, there's rally? When? Where? And I was like, I just told y'all motherfuckers, we're getting to it. So we're gonna get to that when we fill in, because you got the real dedicated notification squad here already on YouTube. We are already lit, so we're gonna get to that. Elliot, not to dump the floor on you already, but we'll get to that. I'll let you do the thing in a minute. But first, I want to introduce our guests tonight. Tonight, we're joined by Mark Anton, President
Steven,
of SFATA, and Dave Gravy Morris. I can't hear you. You're muted still.
Gotta unmute.
You're muted.
How's it going?
Executive Director.
Executive Director. I'm so sorry. I will fix that. And Dave, you are the Vice President. I did get that right?
Yeah, I am the Vice President.
All right, I'm 1 out of 2. That's not bad. Good job. Pat's all around.
50%. There you go.
Let me fix that for you. So why don't you guys, tell everybody who you are, what the org is, where you're from, if they don't know already, which they should. I doubt they don't, but you know what? Better cover all our bases.
Well, you go ahead first, Dave. You're a board member.
Yeah, okay. I'm a board member. All right, so
This is what I get.
like you said, my name's Dave Morris. I'm the Vice President of the Smoke-Free Alternatives Trade Association, colloquially known as SFATA. I'm personally based out of Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Mark Anton. I'm the Executive Director of SFATA. And I'm based out of New Jersey. And God, I've been in this industry forever.
Yeah, you have. Lord knows that's the truth. I think the first time you and I met in person was actually in, was it in North Carolina or was it in Tennessee?
I think it was Tennessee.
It was
Yep, Tennessee, because I was there.
That's right. You were at both of them, so that doesn't really tell us much. That was not helpful.
Tennessee was correct.
Yeah, Tennessee was good though. It was a good show. It's a good show. I'll be at the next VC in North Carolina at the end of July. It's going to be a good show too. They're always great shows. Always great shows. Never had a bad time.
They're good people.
They are. Ronnie's a legend.
And I love the way they always do the converting a smoker.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to bust the record this time.
That to me is the biggest deal.
Yeah, they're trying to go over 1,000 conversions.
Makes it all worth it.
At this one show?
Well, between all the shows they've done,
Yeah.
they're looking to beat 1,000 out of all the shows.
I think they're up to like what, 882 or something like that right now.
Yeah, something like that. They're good. I think they'll bust 1,100.
Yeah,
I'll put money on that shit. Because now it's no longer we're getting our feet wet, we're getting used to it. Now it's they're seasoned veterans, so it's gonna be good. It's gonna be very good.
Yeah, no, that's the best part to me actually, is walking with the new people, helping them and getting them to understand it. I do suggest though, when you are converting a tobacco smoker, that you give them a tobacco flavor, not necessarily a flavored one right off the bat.
Yeah, let them adjust first, and then
yeah,
start that disassociation process.
Flavors save lives. Let's go right now, baby.
Yeah, get right in. We're gonna get you right to that cotton candy right now. But I really want it to taste like a cigarette. No, you don't. Get over here. Let me show you the way. No, you got to start them off slow. So I've always found that's the better way to do it. You get them on there with the tobacco product, and you mix a fruit in. Then they show up saying the fruit tastes weird, and then you switch them over to something nice.
It takes a while for their taste buds to change too.
Because they come back. You know what I mean? The first thing they notice is that they can taste food again. You usually come back and they're about 20 pounds heavier. Oh, you taste the food again. Ain't that nice? Yeah, you might taste something better than that. Come here. But that being said,
that explains so much.
It does.
Doesn't it?
It does. Dude, I got fat when I quit smoking, man. I got like mega fat fast. I realized I could taste Mexican food again. Before I was just eating it because I knew it tasted good and I should just eat it. I couldn't taste it though, no matter how spicy it was.
It's like
just
the Matrix.
burned. Yeah.
You know it's supposed to taste good. And
it tastes like a lie.
You know it tastes like meat. It's not really meat.
So, Ellie, you told me that there
meat,
was,
but it
pre-show, you said that there was a couple of New York Bills that surfaced.
Yeah. So,
Oh, boy.
I was alerted last night
Apparently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new bills. Yeah, 8 new bills popped up. It's interesting. Okay, so the interesting thing about these bills is that a lot of them are like repeats of what we're already facing with the FDA. One of them is restricting advertising and promotion of electronic cigarettes, which is pretty much already done, although somehow the Hughes and Juul found a loophole around that. There is one that is reporting of a person allowing, enabling, or providing electronic cigarettes to a minor. I actually like that one. Now, meanwhile, I am not a snitch. I don't condone snitching. But this is, we want the industry to survive, and people are blatantly just breaking the law to do so. Well,
Yeah.
There is prohibits public display of tobacco ads, including vaporizers, within 1,000 feet of schools. That one's just kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Prohibits saying vapor products have a positive impact on a person's life or well-being. So that one's weird because we do already have the gag order from the FDA as of August 8th, 2016. My question is, and I have to do a little bit of more digging in this, is this only for manufacturers and shops, or are they trying to just control our First Amendment right?
Well, it is New York, so somebody's trying to control, a constitutional right and, things of
They
that
certainly
nature.
control our second fucking right. So Second
Yeah,
Amendment right.
they don't care about that. They don't know what that is.
There's one that requires proof of ID for online sales, including warning labels, signed acknowledgement, and photo ID requirements, which again is another.
We already
Already
do
a
that.
fucking thing.
We already do that.
So clueless. I
It'd
I
be
don't
nice
understand.
if they read what the FDA requires us to do before they do something.
There's another one, requires warning, nicotine dangers to human health and long-term medical complications. Well, I haven't heard of nicotine causing long-term health problems, and yeah.
I mean, you
No.
might lose weight because it is an appetite suppressant. Is that a long-term health problem?
Might be. If you were looking to stay big. Might hurt your game.
I mean,
Sorry.
who would I be if I wasn't 300 pounds?
Now we have one conflicting directly with what the FDA requires us to do.
Ooh, tell me.
Requires
What's going on, Randy? How you doing?
bright labeling of nicotine warnings.
So can I do a hot pink warning label? Is that possible now?
Yep.
You would.
That'd be amazing,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
I
Stands
just
out. If it stands out,
I know these things. What is wrong
if it
with them?
Are
stands
they
out,
changing the font too?
Yeah, 13 point and has to be fucking Comic Sans.
I was gonna say, please make a Comic Sans. Everybody hates that font.
It's the troll
No.
font.
They'll go right the fuck back into the assembly and go, no, that font is terrible. Put it back.
Now here's another interesting one. Now, before everyone hops on board and goes, "Oh yeah, that's awesome,"
You mean like I did?
yeah, you fuck. Maximum nicotine level of 2% for manufacturers in New York of e-liquid. Now, think about that one for a second. That is not saying you cannot sell over 2%. That is not saying you can't buy over 2%. It's
Now-
saying that New York manufacturers cannot manufacture anything
Have you
over
read the actual bill, or are you just reading like a short
I'm
version?
reading a little cheat sheet. So
Okay, so
full
we need to
disclosure,
find the
I'm
actual
not
bill to
reading
read the
the
real
entire-
language, because the language always typically goes in more depth than the actual just little snippet. It could say that you can't sell over, it could say you can't distribute into, things like that.
Right. So full disclosure, I've not read the actual bills. I
We
plan
did just
to,
find out about him yesterday.
but I did just find out about them yesterday.
Do you
while
have
I
a
was-
number with that last one?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
S6076. Who gets
it
it
in.
first?
All right.
Type
So
it
it's
in.
in the Senate.
Yeah, these are all Senate bills.
New York State bill. Got it. S6076A. 2017-2018 legislative session. It was introduced and is currently in the Judiciary Committee.
I don't think that's the right one. I couldn't find that one at all, actually.
Well, I don't know what it is, but do you support this bill? Nay. No more bills. Bills are expensive. Let's see here.
Yeah.
There's another one. Oh, it's a co-sponsor. Never mind.
Yeah, you gotta find the one for 2019, 2020.
Hey, let me do that real quick. Let me take a swing here. Hold on.
Mike, I just sent them over to you.
Yeah. I can't find that either.
How do bright colors not market to kids?
The only one I was able to
Oh,
find
fuck
real
off.
quick was the one that was introduced in April.
Yeah, but
Interesting. We'll figure it out.
bright colors.
there's a couple
market
of
kids.
bills. Full
Oh,
disclosure.
Well, you
That's
did
just
say
like
it
a-
was
Oh,
late last
everybody
night,
likes bright
right? So they
colors.
might not have posted yet.
Everybody likes
We'll
bright
we'll
colors.
find them and we'll do a 2-match chat
on
live. And
Fortnite,
we'll discuss
J-Dub.
those and break them down for you.
Thanks for the follow,
Fantastic.
I
brother.
do miss doing
Wonderful.
those.
Hey, bring it back. Bring it back.
Well, every time you end up calling me, I'm naked, so it's like.
That's true.
They only send me the best.
We're back to Saturday. I gotta derail the show
I was gonna say,
sometime.
welcome back to
I,
Saturday.
I was about to say this must be the Saturday show.
It is. It is. There's no rules here. Civility, right out the fucking
Prime
window.
time, baby.
So now we can talk about the elephant in the room because I knew Sherman was coming before he even popped
Grandpa.
on. How do you like that? Like that psychic. Anywho, so we are going to be doing a rally in 2019. I'm trying to shoot to get this done and all the paperwork filed, if it's even needed to be. Because it turns out in let me see here, because I was reading this and then I closed it like an idiot. One second, guys.
More people. More
Do-do-do-do.
people.
Over in
There's
Silver
more
Spring,
people
they were
here.
saying that apparently you don't need an actual permit to protest there,
No.
which blew my mind. I was looking for, what do I need a permit? Do I need, where do I file it? Where do I go? And they were saying that as long as you're not blocking the roadways and doing other, destructive things. Now, I'm going to call the police department on Monday and see what's up, but that seems to be the case, that this is actually going to be a lot easier.
Do they have
Have you
tank
have
parking?
you been to Silver Springs? The
I used to
have
live
not.
there.
headquarters?
I used to
Really?
live there.
You used to live there.
Yeah, I used to live. Well, technically, I used to live in Tacoma Park area.
Which is
Uh,
north of Silver Springs.
Yeah, which is literally 5 minutes north of Silver Spring.
Mhm.
I used to be right next to Langley Park and Tacoma Park.
Yeah, you might want to look into that because the way the FDA is set up, and technically that's federal property, you have a fence around the complex, and there's only a small little area from the roadway to that fence, and they're way back, right?
Yeah.
So, and the FDA. And our guys, CTP, I think, are in building 15, which is in the back frickin' far corner. So they wouldn't even see us.
Yeah, that's what. Have we looked up to see if there have been any protests at the FDA in the past?
Anything? There was one. There was the protesters' goodbye for Scott Gottlieb, a supersized heroin spoon, and
Oh,
claimed
yeah.
FDA did little on opioids. But this looks like they were at 200 Independence Avenue Southwest. So I don't know if that was in DC or not.
Should we do the FDA or should we do the Capitol?
I think
No.
we should do the Capitol, frankly.
Think so?
You're not going to get the same type of recognition at the FDA as you would on the Capitol. And I was originally planning to do the rally, as I told Tristan, and then a fly-in right after that. But we want something to go into our congressional members with. There's not too much pending other than fighting, Frank Pallone's bill, which is flavor bans, T21, and a few other things, plus the $100 million. That was a nice little gift. But, other than his, I really don't want to be going in saying, don't do this. I want to go in and say, do this.
Yeah.
You know, I want something very specific if we're going to be engaged, and you do need a permit for
For
being
the capital, you do. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So I'll get to work on that. That's not too hard. I got
Because
Out
we
of my
don't want to.
jurisdiction. Out of my
That was
jurisdiction.
kind of my thought process. Also, after talking with some of the guys and some other people, because we don't want to piss off the politicians that are on our side. You know, by having a giant rally and people yelling, you know, "Fuck the government," basically.
Yeah, that's the problem. Or chucking the huge clouds.
Yeah, well, we'll hand out information on, you know, to all the state members who want to come on over,
Mhm.
talking points that everyone needs to stick to, you know, and if we do that and we have it organized, you know, we can get it done. We just got to make sure that everyone is on
Come
the
on,
same
Kayla.
page as to what our message is when we go on over there. That's the main.
You want to really get people's attention and really fuck with some people's heads at the same time.
Yeah. That's what I do.
Make 480,000 tombstones and take just little cardboard cutout tombstones and say this is what combustible cigarettes does per year in the United States.
I think actually the Truth Initiative did that for one of their
They did. They had everybody lay
for
down.
one of their they had
Pop
everyone
up.
lay down for that.
Body bags too. They did body bags.
Use their shit.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
You're a fucking genius. See, that's why we have it, Alan. That is genius.
Now,
He's back on mute.
It'd be great if we had
And I'm
400,000 people. That'd be great.
now, Dave, we were talking a little bit earlier, and you mentioned kind of the whole thing about possibly having multiple rallies for those that weren't able to make it to DC, correct?
Yeah. Honestly, like I think we'll get a bigger turnout that way. And it's not without precedence. Like if you guys remember, was it not last year but the year before, I believe, when there was the big like women's march?
Yeah, they did in a lot of places.
Yeah, it took place all over the place, and the organizers just kind of added up all the numbers from each individual rally and put it together, and it was the biggest rally in human history.
I was literally on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, and there was just a mob of women walking down with their signs and shit. It was nuts.
I didn't even know it happened until it was over, but like I'm not on the women's mailing list, so I guess that.
So we have
should
the
get on
big
that.
Yeah, but you
Get on that.
did see the DC thing. It was a
Oh
very
yeah, that was
big
huge
DC.
too.
And really, this is, you know, listen, we're not going to change the narrative
Hold on,
anytime
Amanda.
soon.
How you doing?
With any type of advertising or anything like that. So you actually have to make a very clear message so people understand what's going on. And you kind of got to do it in a little bit of a disruptive way.
So that's kind of an idea. We have the main rally, the heart of the rally in DC in front of the Capitol. And then for everyone who's unable to make it, you know, if they're all the way on the West Coast and obviously
Yeah.
they can't make it out to the East Coast.
Like in
Okay.
San
Go to
Francisco and
I
LA.
can't get to
and-
Have them rally outside the biggest media station in their area.
Their media station, their state capital, if there's an FDA center.
When we
you know,
did the Buffalo rally outside the media station, that really
that was huge.
that drew like 6-7 different Buffalo news media stations in.
And, you know, huge shout out again to Vic,
Vic.
and Tom, and everyone over at the coalition. Y'all absolutely killed it over there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if
that
we do
was
something
impressive.
like that, where we have the main one in DC, and then everyone who can't make it rally at their respective areas.
Yeah, I think I think West Coast should be an option.
West
Have a
Coast?
West Coast and an East Coast rally.
Well, you might want to have more than that, 'cause like here's the way I'm thinking of it, right? So, you know, I'm from Phoenix, and if we all decide that we're only going to do the thing in DC, I can probably get like 10 people to go with me, and I'm down. But if we're going to hold a Phoenix rally, I could probably get 1,000 papers to show up to that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
See,
You know-
that'd be something the state groups would be good at, rallying
Yes.
their members and their
Right.
customers.
And their customers.
Yeah, but then who would go in DC? That's the problem. It'll get too
Yeah,
fast.
you
I
can't
don't have
be
answers
really
for that.
thin at DC.
Well, we
Both
take the
national
whole
trade
East
orgs.
Coast- We take the whole East Coast to DC.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
like you said, the national trade orgs.
You take both national trade orgs and the state groups from the East Coast and all the members and
All the customers, all that shit. We just roll out, families and
Make
all.
it
Bring
happen.
everybody.
Yeah.
But that would actually be good because then, because you know what I mean. Because if they don't cover what's happening on the East Coast, on the West side, we got another rally happening right in your backyard, buddy.
Yeah.
Right in your
Good
backyard.
idea. That's a really good idea.
I mean, the way I would see it, it's like if you're within driving distance of DC, go to the DC rally.
Right.
But for people in LA or Oregon or like I'm in Phoenix, like I'm not going to be able to drive to DC.
No.
So
But we got really strong state associations on the East Coast.
Yeah.
We've
I'll do what I
got
can.
New England, we've got Virginia, we've got North Carolina, Kentucky, Georgia, Florida. I mean, they all can go DC, and then the West Coast have it in a couple of different states.
What if we simplify it and we just have one in each time zone?
honestly, like, I don't even know if you should restrict it like that, because the time zones, yeah, they're not that long like east to west, but they're pretty tall north to south.
Yeah, you're talking about a lot of area there.
You're talking Chicago to Houston. That's pretty far.
I'm a longitudinal line guy. I think very horizontally. Man, we'll figure it out. We'll hammer that part out. That's not, but I think having one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast is a really good idea.
Yeah.
Well,
I love
honestly,
balance idea.
I think the idea of the state organizations is good. Like that's going to kind of be required for anywhere that wants to do this type of rally. But just like off the top of my head, with the organizations that I personally work with, like I know Colorado could probably do it. I know Phoenix could do it, or Arizona could do it. Texas has a lot, more than one pretty big organization working there.
New Mexico.
Yeah, New Mexico could definitely do it.
Yeah, have them do it, and then East Coast just attack DC.
Yeah, until we can get California back in the fold, behaving. It's going to be tough. Yeah,
I think we can get some Californians to do it too.
Yeah, you can.
Necessarily
You can always
something
get
need
someone to
people
do
be
it.
behaving for. As long as
You
there's
know, you can
I'm
always
not
get
saying
someone to
behaving,
do it.
I'm just like,
Get involved.
thank you.
Yeah.
Call it like how it fucking is. Get involved.
right.
Get off your ass.
Oh God, please not another 10-minute tirade.
No, I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking.
I was looking forward to that, man. That's why I'm.
That was,
I am.
Yeah, dude.
All right. Elliot, go.
It doesn't work like that.
he's got to
Start
be
drinking.
inspired.
You got an hour. Go.
So, yeah, but if anyone needs to do it, it's California.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, the problem with doing major cities is that some of the major cities aren't necessarily trying to kill us, so we probably shouldn't piss them off. Be like, oh, you know what? They didn't shit in our mouth. We're not going to let any vapor bills pass. Might not happen that way, but you know what? Let's not aggravate a situation that's not actually angry yet. It's not.
Well,
making money.
I guess it really depends what the exact
Going on, Steven.
exact message of the rally is. If the message is just vape good, cigarettes bad,
Steven
then
hates
yeah,
his
probably
state,
not.
though.
But if the specific thing we're talking about is, if we're saying we're upset that the PMTA deadline is most likely moving up, or we're upset that there's not legislation separating us from tobacco or whatever, there's 1,000 good things that we could kind of specify. Then I think it would help. Fortunately, I'm from a state that vape is pretty safe. We still have to fight a lot of things, but we win most of the time. But I would still love to do one here, just because I
Cody.
think we'd get a big turnout.
Ryan, how you doing?
If people said, hey, what are you guys here for? And I had a specific message for something that's happened at the federal level, then I don't think anybody would get upset by that.
No.
I think most of all, it's about getting our story out there. The sad thing is we've done a shitty job over the last.
Yeah, we've done a
7
terrible
years
job.
of getting our message out there.
We're the ones to blame for it.
Being proactive, and what that's done is it's caused the ants and the people who hate our industry to be able to get their message out first.
Yeah.
Something like this, what it would do is hopefully, if there is a congressman or a senator or whatever else, a city councilman or whatever, who just don't know. Maybe this will get something. They'll do a little research before the bill hits their desk.
I mean, the message could be something as simple as vaping saves lives, flavor saves lives.
Yes.
Or it could be as you don't want to make it too fucking convoluted. You don't want to go ahead and say, I would love to say, FDA needs to extend the pre-market tobacco application, or give us a fast track to the PMTA. But the general public doesn't know that shit. They don't even know.
You gotta keep it simple so the public gets it.
Saves lives, flavor saves lives.
And it's got to be done in a way where it's not blended with the Juul issue with teens, right?
Yeah,
we have to separate ourselves somehow from that.
Yeah, you're right. You're
that's
right.
where our message has to be very clean and to the point.
Yep, vaping saves lives.
Regretfully,
Vaping does save lives.
The
I mean,
media and Miss Susie Q,
I think
homemaker,
it's
most of our elected officials, the only thing that they know of is they think that Juul is selling e-liquid that looks like juice boxes to teenagers, and vape shops are setting up across the street from high schools. That's all they know. They don't know.
Yeah, they don't know any better.
And it's because we've done a really shitty job of educating them up to this point.
Yeah.
Sure.
We gotta do better. We have to.
I mean, and you guys had Mike Hogan on here, and he talked about on your show, how the soccer moms are really hammering the legislators based on that issue.
The soccer moms.
So I think that's why it's very critical for us to make sure that we make our message a clean one.
Yeah.
Right? So that it's not mistaken for, we're just a front out there. We're out there just trying to attract our kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Vaping, I think vaping saves lives, flavor saves lives. Keep it simple.
Those are the old classics we used. What was that bus tour that went around, if you remember, right? Wherever they stopped, everybody had, I quit smoking with whatever flavor on the
Right to Be Smoke Free tour.
The videos and the
whatever it was, yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? 3 years ago now?
Because soccer moms watch Fox News.
3, I think.
I wonder where that RV is now.
The last I heard, Paul over at ATR had it.
Be nice to get that back.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Well, it could possibly be at the rally. I know he's down in the DC area.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because if we have a permit for like on the mall or on the mall in front of the Capitol building, you can park an RV in there if you have a permit for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think we've got a potential to do some really good PR. We just got to make sure that our message is clean, message is clear, and it conveys what it needs to be conveyed to disrupt the bad PR that's out there. That's the key.
Yeah, we need to bypass the media completely. That should be the goal. And no matter how this goes down, no matter what the formation is, we should always have somebody that's very well
Frank, how you
versed
doing?
in speaking publicly nearby at all times, like lurking, stalking, and watching the media crews constantly, because they're going to look for the dumbest person in the crowd. I mean, come on, everybody knows who the one guy is. Usually,
and then it's going to be also you're going to have like InfoWars and stuff
that
like
guy.
that down there too.
That'd be great. That would make my day.
Alex Jones
like,
loves
look,
vapors.
Alex Jones in the house.
It's the non-vaping version of me. The tinfoil hat king.
The vaping frog.
Tinfoil hat king.
Anoint my head with oil, my lord. Oh God.
How do you know he doesn't vapor?
He probably does, honestly.
He
I don't
might.
think he
He
vapes
might.
no.
But I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, yeah, it's vape now.
Yeah.
He's too busy. He's too busy chasing the frogs that make you gay.
So we got to be prepared for that, because that the second that there's a rally in DC and people are pissed and it looks like a very angry group of people, media is going to want to run right up to those folks and get a statement from them, which we have to be all too willing to give, because I think it's really the only way we're going to bypass them and break the echo chamber. It really is. Because I mean, how many those people in the Capitol, how many of you really think that have actually stopped and talked to any of us, like randoms? And again, what's your perspective on this? I think that you're trying to kill me. That's what I think. You know what I mean? And I don't. But I know that seems like blunt, but I mean, at this point, if somebody said that to them and they were like, "Well, what do you mean?" You know what I mean? And it works. Fuck it. We gotta go. I'm going in. It seems crazy, but if you really think about it, if you deadpan somebody and personally, I think y'all are passing legislation trying to kill me, and here's why. It's like a slap across the face. Now they're paying attention. What do you mean you think I'm trying to kill you? It's an icebreaker, shock and awe kind of thing. Attention grabber. Because if before they were just coming down to act like they really cared. Now they do, because now they know that you're mad, like really mad.
I mean, let's go ahead and break this down. I mean, what do you guys think is the biggest public misperception of our industry.
We are Juul.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Honestly, I think it's even bigger than that. I think the biggest misconception is that we are
big tobacco, honestly.
not even just big tobacco, but that we are tobacco in general.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or equivalent to, or some people even say worse than. You know, so I'd say, like, if we could change one thing about the public perception, I would love for people to not say, "Oh, cigarettes and vaping." You know, that, like, I'd love that to be two totally separate things.
I mean, what was the percentage increase of people that actually think that vaping is just as harmful as smoking? It's gone up tremendously.
Oh yeah, we're really high numbers now.
We're at very high numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So if I think of this rally was to go ahead and do something, I think that should be the biggest PR message that we need to convey, that vaping is not smoking. Vaping is 95% less harmful than cigarettes. Vaping,
I think that at these things too, by the way, I definitely think that we should have some sort of stage presence.
Oh,
like
100%.
podium.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to make sure that happens at those things, and people, yet again, that are well spoken go up. Not just, you know, your advocates, but, you know, like, also like randoms that,
That's
you
easy.
know.
We
I
get
know
vape radio
it really
there.
is. Publicly speaking is easy, but, you know, people get in front of folks and they're like, "Oh my God, they're all looking at me," and they freeze up. See, me, I love that shit. I feed on it. I'm like,
Well, we get vape radio there. They bring their
Right,
stage
that's what
and
I'm saying.
podium, and then
but
we
they
can.
can't be at each one, though. That's what I'm saying. We need to, if we're going to do multiples, we
Oh,
need to
the one in
secure that
DC.
concept ahead of time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you what's gonna happen. The media will most likely go for the people that are dressed well,
Right.
you know, that are in suits. So the people who want to speak should dress well. Number one, and then number two is obviously, you know, make sure
Always.
that our message is all on point, and we'll just go ahead.
Message too.
I disagree with you. What's going to happen is you're like MSNBC. They're
They're going after the guys with the fucking tattoos, the beards, blowing
Of
big
course they
clouds.
are.
They want us to look like idiots.
They
So
want to
you gotta keep that
skew
in
the
mind.
image.
And you know what's crazy
As
is that
much
would
as they
actually
can.
blow up in their face too.
Yeah.
Because the guys that got the big beards, tattoos, blowing big clouds know what they're talking about. So they're gonna go talk to them, and they're gonna be like, "Oh shit, this guy knew what he was talking about." Where's the guys in the suits? They usually just stumble over their own feet. Yeah, and then they know
That's
what they're
fair.
talking
That's
about too.
true.
So it would be bad either way. Either way, we win out. Either way,
Either way,
Looks
we
like we're
win
bringing
out.
out the ties, boys.
Well, not even that. See, here's the thing, though. See, like, I agree with you in that aspect, but at the other hand, like, we don't want to make it look like it's big business.
No.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We don't want to give them the idea that we are big tobacco. By
Exactly. Just a bunch of random schleps pissed off that you're trying to take them out. You know
But
what I
at the
mean?
Yeah.
same time, you don't want to look like you're representing the head shops and
Agreed.
you're the counterculturalists,
So
right?
leave your tie dye at home.
A degree of professionalism.
Yeah,
We need
you have to have at
people
least
showing
that
up, man.
element. Otherwise,
People-
you're just a rebel, and they're not going to pay attention to you.
We need 55-year-old people showing up in work boots and stuff like that. Your average every Joe.
Oh, you need
day
both.
Joe,
Absolutely.
American blue collar men and women who just want to quit smoking. That's
Everybody show up in your work attire. I still lose. I still got to wear a shirt and tie. Damn.
You know what the easiest thing is to do is just print some white T-shirts with black lettering and just hand it out, and everyone has the same fucking uniform.
Amen to that. That would work. That would work. Because that's actually, like, remember when I
That's-
talked about the.
But this group wear
That
white.
makes an impact.
All right,
No,
black
yeah,
t-shirts.
black. Yeah, we're going black.
Yeah.
Black and
Right.
white. Black and white.
Chat's very upset with you right now, Sherwin. You said white
Yeah,
t-shirt.
no,
They're like,
can't
"What
do
is
white.
that?"
White's not going to end
I
well.
mean, come on. When Siegel was with me at NVE, Mike Siegel, I basically was walking him around. I said, "Look at this group, Mike. They're all in black T-shirts. You can't tell who's with what company. But do you see any suits here?" He goes, "No." And I'm like, "Right. That's because we're not big tobacco."
Mhm.
Mhm.
Maddie did say it best. We aren't a suit and tie industry. We're all small businesses. We're all small, mom and pop shops. We're, for the most part, it's the average
Yeah.
Joe. This is the average guy working his 9 to 5 looking to quit smoking. You know what I mean? It says that we're not, Armani suits, Rolexes, and Lamborghinis. We are, Ford F-150s, boots, and, black T-shirts with white lettering. Sure, when in case you haven't.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm wearing black.
I know. Oh, yeah.
There's
Keeping up
a
the dress
reason
code.
why.
I'm not wearing black,
There's a
but
reason why Legion shirts are black and not white.
Yeah.
Mhm.
harder target to see it during the nighttime.
Exactly. So when I gotta hide, I know. I'm in
Yeah. There's a vapor. Get him.
No, but seriously though, we really should get the uniform message diary now. I figure we'll do that tomorrow. You know what I mean? Not live. We're not gonna spitball that. We'll get that done. I think that'll take us literally half an hour. We'll get that easy. Then we got to pick the locations. Locations are going to be key. And then we got to get, once we have that down, we can start working on all the other logistics of it. Because once you have the locations down, everything else just kind of falls into place. You know?
Honestly, I think the White House.
I think Trump might be our best shot. Whether you like him or you hate him, he's anti-regulation. And when he sees a bunch of angry people that look like his voting bloc are outside there protesting, he's going to go, "What? What'd I do?"
Yeah, yeah,
Come on, man.
That's. I mean, I think maybe the White House might be our best option.
And then we can march right over to wherever Jerome is, and we can just drop a deuce on his lawn. Papers piss me off. Here's why.
428,000 piles of shit all over.
That would be the capital.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the capital, though?
Oh, gotta be funny. No, but seriously, though, we should march right over there and give him a piece of our mind in person so that he can't ignore us like he does on Twitter.
I think he's in the capital.
He is. He is.
I don't want to talk about
the problem also when
Yeah.
you're dealing with, so for those of you that are not aware about how protests and rallies work in DC,
Fill us in, babe.
Yes.
You
Please
know, it'd
tell
be
us more.
great.
I'm from Canada. I need to know more.
If everyone brought like I mean, this is a horrible thing to do, but it's pretty fucking powerful. I mean, all of us have had this experience, but to bring the copy of a death certificate of a loved one who died from fucking cigarettes.
I gotta get 4 of them things.
Right. Yeah.
I'm in. Bet.
I see where you're going with that. Yeah.
You were saying though, Elliot?
yes. When you do a protest in DC, especially a rally, there are very strict guidelines. So if you say that you are going to be at this area at this time, you cannot suddenly bring 1,000 people to a different area.
Right.
You have to literally have basically plans of where you're going. If it's a march, where you're starting, where you're ending. You have to follow all of the laws in general. Otherwise, they will be all over you. I wouldn't recommend the White House also.
Why?
Because most of the time, the president actually isn't even there.
Right. Because he's doing other
And
shit.
if you really want to make a big splash as far as the message across, Capitol building.
Capitol building.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot bigger of an area to protest than the White House.
It's much bigger.
Yeah,
it really is. I was down there and they had a rally march by the White House and they bring you up the side road and you're not even seen. You're just between big buildings and you just get a little glimpse of the White House, which was off to the right-hand side.
Yeah, Capitol building. Yeah, I agree. Capitol building.
And you piss off all the people who live there because you're disturbing their drive.
Also,
You're making a scene. You're making a scene.
Yeah, that's the place you gotta go.
Then we'll be accused of Legion going on vacation. You guys said you don't take vacation.
Grab my Cuban food. I'm good. Get a fucking Cuban coffee with everyone. They'd be fucking wired for shit. They'd be walking for days. It'd be great.
So to get also the maximum exposure too, more people go to the Capitol building as far as tourists are concerned.
Genius.
Because they want to see, whenever you see protests, they're in front of the Capitol building. There are tourists that will literally go to the Capitol building to take pictures and everything. Trust me, I was there for fucking over 5 hours. But they also want to see what rallies are going on, what protests are going on.
What are people,
It's the American way. All the protests and everything are at the Capitol building because that's where you have the laws being written.
Yep.
That's where decisions are made.
The lobbyists that
go. Decisions are made.
That's where you have everything that we are fighting against inside of that
The
building.
decision is made in that building.
And most of their offices are in that building.
And don't forget, Congress, if they're not in session and they're in their offices, the buildings run right along both sides. The Senate on one side, the congressman on the other side.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and you have the Capitol right in the middle. and it's really kind of cool. Even though they can get around us by going through their tunnels underground.
So wait, I get to yell at Dick Durbin?
Oh yeah.
No, only if he doesn't take the tunnel to the Capitol building.
Which you
You know
will.
what would be great is that if everyone that went to the Capitol building dropped a rose for a loved one that died
That's a good one too.
from e-cigarettes, because a rose is easy, they're cheap, they're inexpensive, and
Smoking, not e-cigarettes.
smoking cigarettes. Sorry. Hey, vaping. Did I say vaping? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Dr. Siegel has that.
Come
list.
on, no.
Sorry.
No one.
Yeah, there's no one. There's nobody that's died from e-cigarettes. There'd be no roses.
But can you imagine it? Just to see the imagery of all of these roses on the Capitol.
Again, that's another permit you have to get though.
For flowers, for real?
Because it's going to probably be on a large scale.
Oh, it's
they want to make sure that it's in a isolated area. They want to make sure everything that you do at a protest in DC has to be planned, has to be documented, and you have to have permits.
That's
so
correct.
crazy.
They will come down and arrest you, and
Yes, they
everyone
will.
claims, "Oh, you're arresting me because I'm protesting." No,
We're
because you
arresting you
stepped
because
out
you're-
of your permit,
Yeah.
or you tried doing something without getting a permit.
Right.
So screaming "re" won't help me, huh?
No.
Yeah, no, they'll just
No.
be dragged
Usually
away in
works.
handcuffs, screaming. That's it.
Today in DC, 10,000 vapors attacked the Washington police.
It's our last stand, damn it!
From your lips to God's ears, Sherwin. If we got 10,000, I'd be seriously
I'm just
impressed.
saying, we park the tank around the corner, they'll never see it coming.
I wouldn't even joke about that right
Yeah. Okay. No. No.
Oh, they shoot the dirty bird right out of the air. Come on.
Yeah.
Also, your issue
Yeah.
with having so your other issue with having a rally in DC, it's going to be a one-day event, probably, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to make sure people have hotel places to stay, et cetera, et cetera. Also, for anyone who hasn't visited DC before, parking and transportation
The nightmare.
is a bitch.
Yeah.
Your best bet is to take the metro.
Yeah.
That alone will get people what's going on.
What's going
So
on?
you have
Oh, I'm
500
going down
vapors
there.
on a
Yeah.
metro, all getting off at the Capitol.
I'm going down there to speak. This. Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
And walking up, holding signs and everything. People follow them.
Yeah.
There's
Bro,
a
what's
lot
going
of
on?
nosy motherfuckers in DC.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
black
what's going on?
shirts.
What's going on?
Everyone-
Yeah.
Y'all walk right by Mike Hogan's office. He's right there.
You guys going to a funeral? Yes.
I
Yeah.
have a feeling.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that
Basically.
going
Yeah.
to
We
a
are going to
funeral, mass
funeral. Yeah.
funeral.
That is
I
basically
feel
what
like
we're
I'll wind
doing.
up on a domestic terrorist watch list.
You mean I'm not already? I've worked so hard.
We're not ICP, man. Come on.
Not China.
People, 500 vapors, and someone says they're blowing aerosol in the metro.
Well, that's another
They're
thing.
blowing
So,
aerosol in
in
the
order to do
metro.
this, you have to have borderline, basically,
Jeez.
security. You have to have people carousing people the way that they're the direction they're supposed to go. Make sure they're not doing stupid shit like blowing clouds in a fucking metro stop and following the rules. So you got to have someone at the metro exits, making sure people are going to the right places. You got to have people
Yeah. You got to
leading
control
to
these
the
people.
rally point. You got to have
can't just
it's a
trust they're
lot
not
of
gonna
stuff
do
to
it.
for it.
All right,
Yeah.
We
so
need
then we open a Legion
volunteers.
shirt store again. We get security.
You know, we need volunteers. We're going to need people to help. You're going to need people.
Somebody just telling people to behave.
You're going to need people to have water and stuff like that. If we're doing it in June,
Yep.
the mall
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
hot in June.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be able to make sure we have first aid kits. Got to make sure we have everything we need. So we're going to need volunteers, but only those that are 100% willing to help out.
I
Yeah.
think the org's big enough for that. I think we can handle it.
I don't know if you're going to be able to put all this together for a rally in June.
It's
That's
not.
the issue.
It's not
Yeah,
whether
I
you
just-
can't do it
I
though.
mean,
I don't want to be that guy,
the-
but I'm just saying.
the
if we're gonna do it right.
logistics.
Gotta
and
try.
At the same time, you know, a lot of states are finishing up at the end of June. In their
What's going on, Chris?
Yeah, it would have to be like
stuff.
August or September or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine.
And you should do it when Congress is in session.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta, look at their schedule and know when they're gonna be there, when they're not at home. You don't want to lose that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because if they're not there, then
So there's a lot of things that I've already looked at it with Mike because I wanted to do it. I just felt it was the last thing that we had, because we're never going to raise enough money to put enough commercials out there to make a difference at this point in time.
No,
You have to make a statement.
Yes,
This is a statement, and with everything going on with the legislation, with this court ruling, however that's going to be played out. But I think that this court ruling actually can help us, because it certainly puts leverage on Congress to look at this, because really, you think about it, since the Tobacco Control Act was passed in 2009, we're 10 years later and there's still no solution from the FDA.
Yeah.
Well,
there's no final guidance. It took them 5 years to deem us, for crying out loud.
2 years to approve that PMTA from IQOS. 2 years.
Yeah.
For one PMTA.
That's too long.
Yeah.
They're not ready for
it. Was 20. What it was? What 20 million pages?
2 million pages.
Yeah,
2
but
million pages.
2 million pages.
$3.5 billion.
Why in the fuck?
Yeah,
Why?
So I totally get that, but I mean, even so, they can't handle it.
Nope.
Well, they also they don't want to straight up give something available to stop cigarette sales or decrease them more, obviously due to MSA, but they also can't do something so far-fetched as to ban it, because they're going to get a lot of people pissed off, and it won't be in a civil matter either.
Well,
I mean,
I think our message should be: we vape, we vote.
We vape, we vote.
That's an oldie, but a goodie.
Well, bring that around in November.
We vape,
I got that sign hanging up on my wall from that one.
It's a good one though. If we're going to DC,
that was what, 5 years? 5 years ago that one came out.
Yeah, it still
vape,
works.
we vote.
It still works. Talk about a message.
All right. So we'll get all the information, the places, and then we'll work on the when, and then we'll start narrowing down permits where we need to be, and all the things that we just mentioned beforehand. So we have a pretty good guide going on.
Yeah.
You seem to have a really good grasp on this. I'm gonna put you in charge of it. Or wait for your shoulders. No, I'm just kidding. I'll help you. Don't worry. I'm not gonna tell you.
Or check into the licensing. What we would need for DC in order to go ahead.
List.
Yeah, as far as what we would need, and if we were, I think roses is a great idea. Putting those down, see what it would cost to go ahead and be able.
I would love to put them on the state capitol steps.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I'm pretty sure you might need a permit for.
All right, it's okay.
Yeah, but I mean that's a very dramatic statement.
Yeah, no, I love it. I just want to make sure if we do anything, we do it all.
It's dramatic. It's visual, and you can see it. You can see look at all these fucking roses. All these people got.
I would love it if
don't have
people
money for a
took a
publicist,
picture of that loved one and attached it to that rose, kind of like they did at 9/11. Where every wall was painted with pictures of loved ones who are missing or gone. It was a very dramatic thing.
Yep. And if we can get some people with doctors that are doctors or medics that could come, I mean, believe me, there's a lot of things we can do. Let's work on the licensing, see what it takes. Then we'll work on the logistics, and then we'll work on the messaging. That's how it has to go down. This is how it has to go down.
Now,
that's the only way.
To be fair, also, while we're planning this, I don't think it would hurt if we do a little bit more research into the whole Maryland FDA thing and send a group of people, not 1,000, 5,000 people,
like 200,
but like 200 people to go to the FDA and make our case as well. Because that's virtually, if there's no permit, doesn't really cost anything.
We're trying to do that with postcards in Canada.
Let's work on licensing first. Then we'll work on logistics by getting a head count and see which state associations would be going to DC and what other ones would be staying where there are. If we got enough people, logistically wise, we can go ahead and split them up or put a certain.
No, I don't mean at the same time. I mean, so we plan for the big one in DC.
Mm-hmm.
But due to what's the impending issue that we're facing right now, we send people in June to the FDA.
Nah, we got to do it all at one time. I mean, you're talking about people that have very limited resources, passionate.
That's why I'm not talking about sending a lot of people.
Yeah, but why are you going to do 200 people FDA? It's going to be like they're going to go ahead and they're going to see, look at all these people. It's going to be like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, but that's fine. But
I think it should be the same day.
And I agree with same day. The reason why I say that is because if we do it all the same day, it's fires everywhere.
Mhm.
It's literally everywhere in their face.
You want them to take notice. This is about notice us.
Hey,
Understand we're trying to
what we're
save our
saying,
lives
yeah.
by something we know is way better for us. And it's at the same time, like Tristan said, it's fires everywhere. This isn't just a one-off thing. This isn't just a little spit. You had Buffalo, then you had Albany, right? Those things start to build, and if they see it start to build, then they have to start taking notice. They really do. And we could bring signs like the shape of Wisconsin and say, "Remember Wisconsin," and they'll be like, "What the fuck was that?" That was the day Donald Trump got elected. It was also the same day Ron Johnson, who was written off for not, got elected by vapors.
Yeah.
Done jack shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I know. I'm just it pisses me off.
It doesn't matter. We made a difference in that election, and if you remember election night, they even said we have no idea what the hell's going on in Wisconsin.
Yeah, they had a little segment about the vapor vote, which was actually kind of funny if you watched it, because it came across as when they were talking about 4chan. That shit was funny too.
Yeah.
Oh
If
yeah.
you've ever seen that, that bit was
4chan.
great. They were very clueless. It was like, oh, we got to talk about it because it's a thing. What is it? I don't know. Wig it.
You know what? We're what,
That's
10 million vapors now?
13.5 recent.
Are those 100% vapors or those dual users too?
Either or.
Either or, at this point, it doesn't matter. We're all in the bed together. In fact, shit. I wouldn't even
And they
think
still
Lars to
think of us as just a one-off type of thing.
like it's a one and done thing. Well, clearly it's not, with the rate that the industry has grown.
Yeah.
You're clearly mistaken.
Yeah.
I mean, yet again, these are the same people who are passing bills that are creating laws that already exist. So.
And counteracting.
Yeah, but it just shows you that they still haven't gotten their heads wrapped around it, nor have they even really paid attention to it. They just keep listening to the ants who are so well funded. I mean,
and equally as ignorant.
I would love to put out those dumb commercials like the Truth Initiative. Frankly, I think that's great with that, and it's got nicotine. I mean,
if you do memes and you don't consult with me, I'm so upset.
I mean, I just watch that when I want to laugh.
It's
Have
so
you
bad.
seen the YouTube videos on that? They're youth, or not. I won't say youth, but like young adults, 18 and over, that are commenting on these videos. And they're saying this is absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen those. And the one guy I think he's playing a video game while he's talking about it.
Yeah,
he was spot on.
Yeah, and it was incredibly spot on. Yeah, I think that what we need to do is if we really want to send a message, we vape, we vote.
We vape, we vote.
Congress
we vape,
wants to take
we vote.
away our freedom of choice. Those kind of messages. We really need to scare, I think, Congress, the politicians, so they realize this is a voting bloc that they really need to take seriously. And I don't think that they know that we're out there. And I think that's the message that we really need to convey on going into this rally. It's not only is it about public perception, but more importantly about political perception, that we're organized, that we have a huge voting bloc, and that they're going to take notice. And that scares the fuck out of a politician when they see something like that.
Yeah,
that is.
I think those messaging, that messaging is spot on. But somehow, I think we need to also, I'm not sure of the word, so there's smarter people than me to do this, but something along the lines, vaping is not smoking.
Yeah.
Right, because it is not smoking, and I'm constantly listening to these politicians. Just conflating the two issues,
Thinking it's the same thing.
and believing they're
They
one
just-
and the same thing.
They
and they're
don't know.
not.
They don't know any
Yeah.
better.
I had
Yeah,
it out
I
with
mean
one
that's a
sponsor.
message that could be carried on while on our shirts, or
Yeah.
or messages on posters that we're walking around and holding. These are talking points that we can talk
Yeah,
about.
but they
I
want
think the
so
main one
much.
should be "We vape, we vote." I really do. And then vaping is not smoking. Politicians want to take away our freedom of choice.
Mhm.
Vaping saves lives.
Elections are coming
that's-
around. We're watching you. I mean, shit like that with a group of people, to have 10,000 vapors coming into DC, that carries a fucking message.
Hey,
that carries
these
a big
guys will
message.
have a say. Yeah,
And-
we're gonna
and,
vote. We vape. We vote.
Politicians get scared when they see something like that.
That they do.
It's interesting.
That they do.
And that's what I think we need to do, is we need to scare them.
Yeah.
Exactly. The time for playing nice is over.
Yeah.
We need to go in with fear because our opponents are going in with money. I
Yeah,
think fear is the only thing that we can equate
that's
out
all
of
they
that.
have.
You know what I mean?
All they
It's the
have
only
is
thing
money.
we got left.
That's all we got is angry.
Yeah.
You gotta,
what do we
gotta
have?
get hangry.
They have
Nobody eat before
money.
you go. Be hungry and angry at the same time.
Yeah.
No,
Brings out the best of
we
us.
don't need people passing out.
All right, Salter can. Nobody else does.
I think we should have Salter in the front with a thong and a big fucking message. And I
That's
think
not how you start a.
Bro,
that's
I
how
will
you
dress
start
up
a
like Stormy
5,000
fucking
marathon
Daniels to get Trump on our
marathon.
side. Real quick, Mark, have you looked into the costs associated with like a rally in DC?
As far as what?
Well, just I mean like permit cost.
The permits aren't expensive. Of course, when I was talking with Mike, he's like, "Oh, you need buses, you need hotels," and I'm like, "Dude, now you're getting out of control on me."
Right.
This really needs to be a grassroots effort in my mind for it to really have weight.
Yeah, I mean,
really
people
have-
can come in for one day,
Yeah.
walk for 2-3 hours,
For
and
one
they can
day,
go back
yeah,
home.
just one day.
It's 4 hours
Just
from
one
me
day.
from North Carolina to DC.
Yeah,
So,
it's
I mean,
about the same for me.
yeah. So I mean, you know how many states that covers? That covers a lot of states.
It does.
So I mean, 4 to 5 hours is not. I mean, 8 in the morning, have a 2 o'clock rally. From 2 to 4, boom, everyone goes back home.
Yep.
Well, so
Some
what?
people might do it as a vacation. After they
Yeah.
rally, the next day they stay and do some sightseeing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make-
For funding,
a
we've
trip
always
out
had
of
really
it.
good luck with the T-shirts and everything.
Oh
we
yeah.
could have
The
kind
T-shirts
of-
that people are going to wear at the rally as the
And
fundraiser.
that's
Well,
that's
no,
your ticket.
I
That's
mean,
your
we could,
payment.
I was thinking if we can find a way to co-brand with, say, like if you guys, obviously you guys are on board, have like a SFATA sleeve. If VTA jumps on board, a VTA sleeve on the back, have like the "We Vape, We Vote" or whatever our unified message is going to be. The front with the Legion logo as usual.
The only thing I would recommend, and some people are not going to like this is not about brand recognition.
I agree.
Not about.
I agree. This
advertisement.
isn't about SFATA. This isn't about VTA. This isn't about the Legion. This is about vaping.
No,
Yeah,
but
it's-
you still have to sell the shirts.
I know you're still trying to get.
Well,
the
so what we
sponsorship,
do is
whatever,
we
but-
get the list of the people who put in money for it, and we do a post with a thank you. But at the rally, we do not have any vape companies
No
advertise
brands,
Why
no
would we?
nothing.
or anything like. You would be surprised.
I'm pretty sure
companies
if one of
want
those
their-
showing up, they know they're getting burned to the ground.
I think
No, because you're part of the community. You're gonna do
It's
something.
one thing to talk about a vape company. It's another thing to talk about advocacy organizations.
Right.
Oh no, I have no issue with advocacy organizations.
Hold on, please. I think
Sorry.
it would be a very good idea to have, if SFATA, is on board, VTA is on board, those names on the shirts for the specific reason when they go and talk to the politicians, maybe the
There's-
politicians remember.
They're
Mark goes up and
associating it.
shakes his hand and says, "Hey, I'm Mark. I'm with SFATA."
Yeah.
Maybe that guy might remember. Hey, wait a minute. It was just
Yeah, I
1,000
don't think they
people
think
outside
that
my
hard though.
office.
I don't think they think that hard.
See if we can get
Yes.
Greg with AVA involved too.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Greg would love this. Yeah,
Holy Trinity.
Yeah, he does, but he doesn't do too much DC. He's more a state guy.
yeah.
I'll bring the cognac.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
But still,
Bring the cognac, he'll be fine. Don't borrow his vape pen. Oh, trust me on that one.
Someone got.
Oh, yeah.
Arm
man.
reduction,
All right,
Greg.
so we'll get to work.
Guys,
get
yeah,
the
yeah.
logistics
Guys,
down.
listen,
That's
I
the
gotta
hard
go.
part. Everything else
It's been a blast. I love you guys. Take care. Keep
That's a
vaping.
strong
Don't
note
be
to end the
silly.
show.
Welcome to the West Coast Clouds podcast. This is Nick, your host. This is the new vape podcast for vapors, where we bring you opinions, reviews, and industry news. You're listening to West Coast Clouds.